Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Thank you for being here. Welcome, good to see everybody in the chat. Hello to the new folks, Slomka, CJ, and Jimmy. Hello and welcome. So, got a couple things on the agenda today, but as always, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat. Start your message with the letter Q, and it makes it a bit easier for me to see it on the screen here, especially once things get going in the chat and things start picking up. And all the discussions happen. So I didn't see any questions come in during the countdown, except for the map. Something was just slow to update. I don't know why that happened, but yeah, it was wasn't actually broken. Lots more equipment back there in this view. Ignore the pile of stuff on the floor. That's not supposed to be there. But that is the second thing I want to talk about today. The first thing I want to talk about briefly is the new time for this stream. I have a question, which maybe I'll do it as a poll, actually. What does this mean? Wait, start a Q&A. We're going to try that later. There's a new feature in YouTube chat. The first thing I want to do is, if you look at my channel, I just updated the channel banner today, this morning, or maybe it was last night, with the new time, 9 a.m. Pacific. I've always had 9 a.m. I've always had 10 a.m. Pacific on here. And some people have said you should put other time zones in. The problem is that because I pinned the time to Pacific time, if I put the time as UTC, I will have to change the banner twice a year, at least until we get rid of daylight savings time in Portland. So I could do that. Will I remember? Probably not. Probably not for a couple of weeks after daylight savings time change. That's generally how that works. So the question is, should the channel banner say 9 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Central European time, like it does now? Because those are the two main groups of people. I know there's a lot of people in between, but I feel like most people in the US can figure out what 9 a.m. Pacific is in their time zone, because you only have to add 3 at the worst case, so I guess -5 if you're in Hawaii. Central European time is definitely the most popular time zone in the other parts of the world for this channel. That's my thought. Or should I say UTC? And I just have to remember to change it during daylight savings time. So should the channel banner say 9 a.m. Pacific and 6 p.m. CET? Or should it say 1700 UTC? And I'm going to say 9 a.m. This is a poll that's going to go out in a second. 9 a.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. or UTC. Now you can vote. Start the poll. You should see this poll pop up in a second. Okay, we'll wait for the results to come in. Start a Q&A way ahead of you, YouTube. Yeah. Okay, so while that's going, while that poll is going, then, IT never gets old. This is a great point. If you are logged into YouTube, it will tell you in local time when the stream is once it's posted. That is true, and that is motivation for me to post the thumbnail earlier, which I have been really bad at for the last couple of months. Really what I should do is immediately after I end the stream, I should go post the new one. That way it's just on the channel. Because then, yeah, then it's in your local time. Lynn Taga says, no problem, I get the notification when it's time to turn on the stream. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're getting notifications, because some people don't get them for some reason. Okay, we've got results coming in. I can't see how many people have voted. Oh, I do see how many people have voted. Great, we'll wait for a little bit over half the people to vote. Packages, packages, packages. Yes. So this is the reason my floor is a mess. It's actually way worse than it looks in this shot. I can barely walk. Let's see. My rear camera might actually show. Yeah. I got a pile here, pile there, pile down there, a stack of boxes over there, It's a mess in here, and two problems. One, I need to sell a bunch of this stuff, so it's actually now listed. I'll share the link with you in a second. And secondly, I have now started buying electronics for the house because it is now getting to be very close to the time to install some of that stuff. Ceiling speakers in particular right now, so that stack of boxes is. Okay, how's the poll doing? We got 30 votes. I need a bigger studio. Honestly, I don't. This is not a small space, so I should be able to make it work. One thing I was thinking about, I don't think I actually want to do it, but one thing I was thinking about is I could actually partition it into smaller spaces. I've already kind of done that with this curtain. So the curtain now divides the room. It's not quite half. It's like 2/3 over here and 1/3 behind the curtain. And that's my like office side with my office desk. It's also the pathway to go from into the bike room, which is over there. And I could do it again in this space and like divide it. And then like imagine if instead of that wall being all the way back there, if it was like halfway, then I would have a totally separate space I could keep clean. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I just need to arrange it better in here. Okay, how's the poll doing? I think we're going to look at the results. I wish I could have the way to like share this on the stream. All I can really do is this. We have 36 votes. Vast majority are saying keep it the way it is. Don't change it to UTC. Okay, we'll keep it. Sounds good to me. So let's do that. And now, oh, now it puts it in the chat. Okay. And now let's start a Q&A. Ask a question by starting your message with the letter Q. What does that do? Oh, there's like an actual questions list. This is new. This is fun. We get to try new things in YouTube. Well, let's see what happens. Okay. Let that go for a while. Gwen says, I wonder if you can make your Stream Deck button you use to end your show automatically create the stream for the next show. Interesting idea. That might be possible because there is an API to create live streams. Is there any downside to that? Not really. I guess it's not a bad idea just to automate it because the downside is that it'll like have a stock description and thumbnail. And I do customize the description every week, but I can always just go edit that later. Not a bad idea. I might do that. At which point I might just set it up on a cron job to run at noon or something. Okay, so. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to not use this question thing for a while because it's not showing up as chat messages anymore, so I can't show them on the screen, which is one of the questions. This is what I'm seeing now. Do those new YouTube questions work? Select question. What does that do? Do you see something different now that I've selected it? I don't see anything different. Oh, I see it there. Whoa, do those new YouTube questions work with your overlay? Apparently not. No, they don't, because my view of things does not show the questions at all. So I'm gonna have to not use this for the stream. So this is just a little experiment. What happens if I click close? Interesting. What is YouTube Q&A? Good question. I'm also curious if this is in sync with what I'm saying because like what you're seeing on the chat, is that in sync? Because there's a couple seconds delay, right? Like if I go over here and look at this as a viewer, let's make it not in theater mode. Right. So then like if I close that, is it going to close at the same time? Let's put this on this side and this one on this side. And where'd the other one go? Oh gosh. Too many windows. There we go. Nope. There we go. So if I get rid of this one, how soon? I'm guessing it closes it immediately, yeah. But then there's a couple seconds of lag. Interesting. Okay. Bicky says, what are those small flat panel lights in front of you? Small. Oh, the ones that are these ones. These are aperture or Amaran lights. They are the not RGB ones. I guess I should put a whole list of all the Amaran lights I'm using now somewhere, because I don't actually have them. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna have to end this Q&A thing. This is annoying. Is the Q&A accessible via API? I don't think so. That's what I'm guessing. They've been really bad about adding things to the API when they're new features, or at least documenting them. I'm sure it's there in the API. I'm trying to find a link to these lights. P60X, that's the one. So grab the link. So yeah, what I did is I, how do I get back to the chat? I guess I'm in here. Amaran P60X. So those are the lights. What I did was I swapped out all the lights in my studio for Amaran lights. That way they're all controlled from this iPad up here, which is the Sidus-Link app. So I can just go ahead and turn everything off. These two don't turn off because they got unsynced for some reason. Don't know why that happened, but most of the other ones are still connected. So that is actually why there's a bunch of boxes on the floor, because a bunch of these are the old lights. They're still perfectly fine lights. They just aren't synced up. So that's the reason. I'm going to close this question thing because this is close the Q&A thingy. Cool idea, but I need to get API access if I'm going to use that. So now your messages should hopefully be in. Now I have too many windows open again. Gosh. Now your messages can be in the main chat, and I will see them better that way. Great. Okay, good actual questions coming in. I'll get to those in a second. The office hours had a quick gripe session on the YouTube API a couple days ago. Relatable. Yeah, it's interesting. And I actually need to film a video demonstrating how my chat integration works for YouTube, because I'm trying to apply for increased rate limits. But you have to like justify it and explain what you're doing and show exactly what it does. And they didn't like my screenshots of the chat and written description. So I have to actually film something showing how this all works. So yeah. Can you control your new lights with Companion or other ways on the Stream Deck? Unfortunately not. That is the one thing that I gave up by doing this. So it's Sidus-Link app. There's no API integration with that on the computer. What I can do is I can load the Sidus-Link app on my Mac and do it that way. So at least I can like screen share into my computer remotely and do it, but I don't get Companion integration for it. Yeah. Okay. YouTube API is a major pain. It's really weird. It's really weird. So speaking of lights, I changed all my lights up for Amaran lights, which are like, honestly, their lights, they're fine. They just don't have that wireless link. Some of the lights had remotes, some did not. Some actually, I intentionally got versions that did not have remotes, because sometimes the ones with remotes don't turn on when the power is turned on. And I had a lot of these connected with smart switches. So I would apply power and I want the light to turn on. So some of them I intentionally bought with like no wireless capability. So I am going to sell all of these lights. So all the lights I used to have in the studio. The link to the shop with all the gear is shop.arpk.tv. You can scroll down and find the used gear there. If you are a channel member, then there is a members only stream on the channel right now, as well as a members only Discord that has a coupon code, which will give you 15% off anything here. And certain things like my old projector, it'll make it free. I think the other thing that was free has already been bought now. Yeah. So good deal on a lot of the stuff. I have a lot of the lights, and then I have a lot of UniFi gear. I just upgraded to the UniFi Dream Machine, so I don't need the old Cloud Key. And I'm decided to go a different direction for some of this stuff for the house. So I'm knocking off a couple $100 from the UniFi door access systems. My old television studio HD is there. I hope somebody can use it. I'm still like, maybe I should put it back in my rack because I could use it on the stream technically still. Anyway, a bunch of stuff in here. Take a look. These were the panel lights I had at my desk before. These are actually way thinner than the aperture lights, which is kind of cool. They're super, super slim, like just barely anything. And I had those two at the desk here for a long time. So I have two of those. If you want one or both, you can buy one or both of them. Yeah, that is the deal. That sale is going to run until everything is gone. Oh, somebody just bought the projector. Excellent. It is an old projector, so hopefully you can do something fun with it. This is going to run until everything is sold out. I'm hoping to get everything out of here by the end of the year. So I need some of the floor space back. Oh, and John, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. You should be able to now go see the members only stream, which is streaming this actually, the room shot. Okay. Now let's get to some of these questions. Let's get some of these questions before I fall behind. Oh, and I do have, if we want to, I do have the YoloBox Ultra set up again on the table over here, so we can go over and play with that if you have any things you want to check out on that. Speaking of, Jimmy says, YoloBox Ultra has a minimum bit rate of 5 megabits for 1080p, odd decision as it's not like that on the other models. Is it really a minimum? I thought that was just the default. Let me go check. Let's go move over. The minimum bit rate. I thought it was just the default bit rate. Video stream encoding. So I can stream down to 1 megabit. And but the recording, let's see, recording. No, I can go down to 1 megabit there as well. I need my teleprompter to be the web presenter. Otherwise, I get really confused. There we go. I'm gonna get my audio meter as well. Right, bug with the companion integration with the mixer still. Yeah. So, what was your question? Min bitrate of 5 megabits, but yeah, I don't see that. So I can record at a lot of different things, and I can stream at a lot of different bit rates too. So yeah, that's what I would expect. Clear Life Midi says, I'm watching you and listening now in public, and somebody thought it was me talking. Funny. What's your plan for the ADU after the new house is built? 2 studios. You're going to rent out the space upstairs, the loft that we're living in. That's going to be rented. That's where the cats are right now. Speaking of, they are extremely tired right now. So that is, we're living there right now. I had used it before as, while the construction was happening. I was using it for some filming. I had my studio up there when this was getting built. But no, it's going to turn back into a rental. And the space down here I'm keeping, this is my permanent office and studio space. And then Lily gets the office up in the house. Too bad we didn't have one extra room up there. Are you going to do a New Year's stream this year? My neighbors wondered because they want to know how many fireworks they should order. Yes, I am planning on doing a New Year's stream. If you want to send me a video feed of your neighbor's fireworks, I will absolutely pipe it into the stream. My goal is to start at, because it's on Sunday this year, New Year's evening is on Sunday this year. So my plan is to start at 9 a.m. my time and go until midnight East Coast, because I don't want to stay up till midnight my time. So we'll watch the time change roll over across the world, bring some guests in, and yes, if you have fireworks you want to pipe in to me from wherever you are, then please, let's chat. If you're in the members Discord, we can chat in there. If you are just if you're not a member but you're in the Discord, there's like a welcome channel, and we can also chat in there. Two little fluffy troublemakers, lucky they have to rest sometimes. Yeah. Which cat 5 or 5 cats? 2 cats right now. Cat 2. God, they're so tired. They were just such little monsters this morning. They were just, you can just hear them go plump, 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 all the way across the ceiling. Michael says, have you ever live streamed to Vimeo? Thoughts? Any other alternative platforms you've used? I have not actually live streamed to Vimeo because I don't have any reason to do it for my own channel, and I have not actually done any client work that required streaming to Vimeo either. I've always just done to other platforms. I think it's a reasonable option for like doing gated streams, but it's not cheap, if I remember correctly, for that. And there are a lot of other options. One of the other ones I have done is the Owncast. That's open source, so you have to install it somewhere. But it's a great open source platform for streaming video situation. Let me move back over so I get my buttons back. So yeah, Owncast is open source platform for doing YouTube like live streams or Twitch like live streams, whatever you want to call it. There's chat in it. There's a video player, a little description. It's great. It's really well done and free, but you do have to set it up, install it somewhere. It's not hard to install if you're familiar with installing stuff on servers. There's also YoloCast, which is YoloLive's streaming platform. So that is, I've only tested this. I never actually used it for anything live. But they also have things like scheduled, you can replay videos into it. It can rebroadcast out elsewhere. Oh, and they do have setting passwords for it, so that's cool too. I haven't had a reason to actually use it for any live production yet. I've just been doing a couple of quick tests with it. Do you have a link for the secret Discord server? It is, once you are a channel member, you should see a tab on the channel, which is this, and this will have the link to the Discord in it. So if you now you have the link on the screen, so you can join. But in order to actually get into all the channels, you have to link your YouTube account, and then it will open up all the channels for you. But that's where you can link. That's where you can link to. Can I do a video on Owncast? I really should. I should. Fantastic says, what camera are you using for the cats? How are you getting the signal downstairs? So it's really a low-tech solution. You're going to laugh. Notice that there's a little clock in the corner. This is actually one of the UniFi cameras. So I have UniFi network and UniFi cameras. I just decided to go all in on it. I've been pretty happy with it. I know a lot of people have feelings about it or whatever, but I've been pretty happy with it. I personally don't like, I know enough about networking to do stuff, but I don't know enough to like, nor do I want to set up all the managed switches actually manually, like the real way. So UniFi does this pretty good job of kind of smoothing over a lot of the rough edges of network administration, and like you do have to kind of learn how they do things like firewall rules, because it's not where you would expect it to be in other gear. But once you get past that kind of hurdle of like understanding how it wants you to do things, it's a lot faster. So the I've been really enjoying it. So UniFi cameras also, the downside of UniFi cameras is that you cannot add non-UniFi cameras into the system, but the UniFi cameras do have RTSP. So you can pull out RTSP and even just a JPEG snapshot from a URL on the camera. So they're not entirely proprietary, but you can't put non-UniFi cameras into your UniFi camera system, which is a bummer. But they have a lot of different cameras you can choose from, a lot of different ranges. So that is one of the cheaper ones. It is, that one I believe is a, what is that one? That one is the UniFi, where did it go? Kitten Cam. G3 Instant. I think it's actually one that I'd upgraded a camera somewhere else, and that was just in a box. So it's like, it's an old one. The camera itself is like, don't buy them on Amazon. They're always way overpriced. But it is, why is it showing me the EU store? So they have a ton of different cameras, and G4 Instant is the new model. G3 Instant is down here somewhere. Maybe not. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oh, it's sold out right now, but $80. But yeah, if you get the new one, which is actually quite a lot better, it's $100, which is not too bad. Wireless Wi-Fi. So, you know, you get Wi-Fi issues every now and then. Stream breaks up. This one's wired. This one's great. I like this one a lot. The G5 Flex PoE wired. I have this one somewhere, which is really expensive. I did not buy the $2,500 DSLR one, which takes micro four thirds lenses, which is a really interesting choice. I'm really tempted to try out this one, which is tiny little thing that you put, like mount it into a wall, and then that box goes and hides somewhere. But I don't think I really have any place I can do that reasonably, because you kind of have to, it makes more sense in like a drop ceiling, or if you have a wall that's that you can access the back of, because the back is unfinished. Anyway, so UniFi camera, back to the question. It's a UniFi camera, and the way that I'm showing it on the stream here is, this is the Apple TV. They have a application for Apple TV that you can use to pull up cameras, browse through the history. I just pulled up the camera full screen, and it's on the Apple TV. So that's how it's getting into the stream. I could have pulled the RTSP feed from the camera if I wanted to, like into the Magewell Pro Convert, for example. That would have also worked, but it was easier to just use the Apple TV app. Kind of funny. I think I actually have this set up for, yeah, I do have it set on the Magewell. Let's see if I can bring that in really quick. Where's my multi-view? Let's change that to show the Magewell Pro Convert. That one. Yeah. So this one, nope. I'm missing a companion button. I need to make a new companion button for that, which is, I think it was 12. Yeah. 12. There we go. So that feed is actually now, what was I just showing on the screen? I don't know what that was. This is actually now coming over RTSP from that instead of the Apple TV. So works either way. Kind of cool. Jimmy says, FYI, regarding the minimum bitrate, they must have changed it with the latest firmware within the last couple of days, so all good. Oh, that could be. I did not check the minimum on the YoloBox before that, and I did just update to a firmware that came out, I believe, yesterday or Friday. So do update yours if you have it, because they have been shipping out a bunch of updates this past week. So I grabbed a few G4 instants when they were $20 each. What? I'm jealous. I want a bunch of those at $20. That's great. That's great. Did I opt to go with a different access control system other than the UniFi access control? So sort of. So what I did is I am going with for the, this is like house files content, but I'll just mention it briefly. The for the two rentals, I am using the UniFi access, but for our unit, I wanted something fancier. So I actually am going with a extremely expensive system called DoorBird. It is meant for like large scale apartment deployments. So it's really like, it's a door intercom system, and like you'd see it in this kind of situation, right? They also have like the people use it for houses too, but they have like the, let's see, the, yeah, they have a whole multi-tenant section where it actually gives you like a directory or like a bunch of call buttons. Some of these have like a little screen on the outside too, where you can search for people's names. So doing that doesn't make sense for our building because there are 3 completely separate entrances. So everybody just needs their own doorbell. So for our unit, I got, what is it? It's one of the single family ones with which one is it? Not a keypad. It has the card reader. Is it what? No, not the key fob. It does have a keypad. It has, yeah, keypad. It's this one. It's sitting over on the table there. Yeah, this is the one I got for the outside. I got it in black, and you can also get it in a lot of fun colors. And then on the inside, I have 3 units for the inside, which are these. And I have one inside the studio here. It's on the wall over there. That one's actually already literally mounted to the wall and wired in and everything. This is a little screen that will light up when someone rings the doorbell. And then there's gonna be one on the roof and one in the kitchen or living room area. And then because this is, I did a lot of research on this company before I went into this, because this is obviously a lot of money to spend. I couldn't justify doing this on the other 2 units because that just like, it was going to end up being like $10,000 project. So only for our unit. But one of the things that I really liked about this company is that these are like, it's all SIP at the end of the day. So somewhere back here. So it's all SIP. So what that means is that I was able to buy this phone, which is one of the few VoIP phones that actually gets on Wi-Fi itself. It doesn't have a base station. So this is connected to the Wi-Fi, and this will ring when the doorbell goes off. So if I have, let's see, what's the best angle for this? Can't see it there. Yeah, push the doorbell and then this thing starts ringing and I can answer it. Hello. And you can even see a little picture on it. That's the video feed from the front door, which is pointing up at my ceiling. So, and then if I press, what is it? there's a code to press to unlock it. I can't remember the code. I hang up because it's a little echoey. But you can press a code and then it'll actually unlock the door too. So now I can have a roaming version of a door intercom too, which is pretty fun. Anyway, we need a new entry system at my work, but I don't think my boss would agree to that level of expense. I know it's very expensive, but it's very nice. It's very nice. I'm a big fan. I'm going to do an actual proper video on that system on the House Files channel. Fantastic says the UniFi RTSP thing is cool. Thanks for sharing. They also have an HDMI output dongle. Yeah, that thing was out of stock for ages, and it finally popped up. So if you go here, it's this one, Protect Viewport. So it's $200. So it's not terribly cheap, but it's this tiny little box, and it just has PoE and HDMI, and then you can pull up any of your configured screens on it. So if I go to so if you go into your UniFi system, there's the live view, and then you can choose which view to look at. So you basically choose which of these views do you want to show on that viewport, and then it just outputs this, and it's great. Like, I was using a Raspberry Pi for it before, pulling the RTSP feeds into a Raspberry Pi to show them all on the screen, but it was pretty flaky. It would just disconnect all the time randomly, and I don't know why, but this thing has been solid. So I actually have 2 of them now, and I'm probably gonna get a bunch more to use them all over the place. The cats are so tired. They're so tired. Gwen says, your notification is so quick. DoorBird in my building takes 15 to 30 seconds to ring my phone. Oh, you have, wow, that's cool that you have DoorBird. So that's not my phone. This is a SIP phone, which is on my Wi-Fi. So it's not going through the cell phone network. I'm not going to rig it up that way. So I do have the app actually on my phone. Let's see, I should have a notification from the app then. Yeah. So there is actually okay, so I do have it set up. I'm not probably going to use it much, but I do have a notification on my phone now because the doorbell rang and I could have opened it, but it takes a little bit of time for that to connect once I answer it. So it's not as reliable as like just the local network. Okay, oh my gosh. I bet the cats perk up at food drop time. Absolutely. 20 minutes for that. So we'll see if we can pull up the cameras when that happens. Okay, sorry, I'm getting really behind on the questions. Let's focus. The other, before we get too far into the other questions, one of the other things that people were asking about after the stream last week about the YoloBox was about the stand for the YoloBox. So where is it? Yeah, here it is. So NX3D did make a desktop stand for YoloBox Ultra. That's in the chat now. And that one's done. And then this, so it looks like what you expect. It looks like the other YoloBox stands. Now it's just significantly bigger. So they had to redo the design for that one. But yeah, it looks great. It comes in red and black. And then they also have a cage for it as well, which is not shipping yet, but it is, I think it's on the site. Yeah, so the Ultra cage is here. So released on December 15th. But so this is the 3D rendering of it for now, and then they'll do the actual photos later. Yeah, so it looks good though. Looks good. You can go put in your email here if you want to email when it is available. I'll drop that link in the chat in a second too. Here is the YoloBox Ultra cage. Okay. let me get to some of these questions. Starting with, let's see. Super Simple says, can the YoloBox Ultra accept an RTMP feed in as a source or be set up as an SRT listener? RTMP as a source. So no, no, it does. So it does. Let's go back over there really quick. So when you are setting up a video source, there's no RTMP option, and for SRT, it only pulls. So you have to have an SRT feed somewhere that this pulls from. So SRT encoder on your network or something, but it doesn't. You can't push into this one. So that's the only limit of their integration there. Suburb News says, how does the recording quality compare of 2 to 3 iPhones via Wi-Fi and YoloBox versus something like Switcher Studio for iPad, which also triggers recording, but on each individual iPhone? Good question. If you have phones coming in here, if they're on Wi-Fi, then you're always limited by your Wi-Fi bandwidth, and you're kind of at the mercy of your Wi-Fi weather. Is there interference? Is there other things? So you're always going to get a better result with local recording on the phone. So if that is your primary concern, then I would not rely on any wireless link from the phone into a streaming device if you want to make sure you're getting the best recordings. If your priority is doing live streams, then that's the reason to do the wireless link to the phone. Trying to find where I was. Vicky says, are you still using the OBSBOT Tail Air, and your thoughts? I am. So I have a few of them set up, and I was playing around with them. Actually, I have now 3 of them set up here. They're not in a great location because I was just testing them, but Tail Air, what I was doing was setting up PTZ control. This one is number 1. So I actually have Stream Deck buttons that can control this. That's all from the Stream Deck. And you can actually set presets. You can do control white balance and zoom speed, brightness. Yeah, it's cool. The companion page that I'm using looks like... There we go. Looks like this. So you can see I have all the PTZ buttons over here and zoom buttons and presets. And if you long press on the preset, it'll save it, and you short press to recall. It's pretty cool. So it works because they're all just on my network, either Wi-Fi or plugged in via PoE. You can also buy these PoE adapters, which I would absolutely recommend if you are using these. That is actually a PoE jack, so it'll power the camera from that and give it internet. Or if you don't have PoE, you can still power it over USB, which is cool. So that little dongle connects into or plugs into the camera, and then it's a wired connection. So if you're doing NDI, you get a wired NDI feed, or if you're just using it for control, at least it's reliable that way. It's very cool. Wait, I'm early today. Yes, also last week. This is the 2nd week of the new time. Clear Life Media says, if only the OBSBOT tails were SDI. I need something with SDI in the trailer. That would be very, very cool. I think that's... Yeah, it's interesting. These are like so much cheaper than most PTZ cameras, and honestly, perfectly good quality and very comparable to a lot of the other PTZ cameras anyway, because it's not until you spend like thousands of dollars. No, what's the Canon one that David Joshua Ford uses? I think it's like $2,600, and that one actually has a good picture, but a lot of the other ones are still over $1,000, and honestly not that good of a picture in my opinion. So it's great, but yeah, the trade-off is this is HDMI only, and I don't know if they're going to make an SDI version. Maybe if enough people ask. Let me see. Are there any other YoloBox questions here while we're over at the table? Suburb says, would 3 iPhone streams recorded on YoloBox Ultra be good enough for editing a wedding afterwards? Depends on what you mean by good enough. I would say that if the priority is you want a good, like absolutely guaranteed good quality recording, I would not rely on a wireless link unless it's from a wireless, like a Hollyland or a CineEye, which are like $500 each transmitter pair. And even then, it's risky, but those are at least like way less compressed of a video feed, and they don't do like dynamic compression. Any other version of a wireless camera, like from an iPhone, is going to run the risk of it notices interference, so it starts compressing the image a bunch for a couple of seconds to keep the video moving and the audio going, which is what you want for live streams, but terrible for recordings. So I wouldn't rely on any wireless link from an iPhone if the priority is getting a good quality recording out. If you're doing this gig because you're doing a live stream of a wedding, and you want the live stream to work, then fine. Like, because if it drops out for a second, you can always cut to a different camera, and it's just done. Like, when the gig's over, it's over. Whatever happened during the live stream happened. But if you want to be able to go back and edit it into something that looks like it was not live streamed, I would probably go and just record internally on the phone or in other cameras. IT Never Gets Old says, is the NDI license on the OBSBOT included, or is it an extra fee? It is an extra fee, which honestly is the right call, because the manufacturers have to pay for the NDI license also. So if you're buying a product that doesn't have an NDI fee, it's because they've built it into the costs. So if you go to the Buy Now page here, we should see there's like a separate thing you buy for the NDI. So if you are not paying for the NDI license, like as an itemized thing, let's see, it should be in here somewhere. Yeah, there it is, $100 for the license scheme. So if you're not paying that as like a checkbox, then what it means is that they've built it into the cost and the pricing of everything so that it just kind of averages out, and then they're paying for the NDI license. So like any products that have NDI already included either are cheating NDI, not paying them for the license, but that's a different problem. But more likely it's that they just decided that everyone wants it because it's NDI, so they just add, bundle into the cost. So like the Magewell Pro Convert that I have, that they used to sell 2 separate versions. One had NDI and one did not, and the NDI version was more expensive. And they actually dropped the non-NDI version, and now you can only buy the NDI version, and there's no separate license key for it, so there's no way to get it cheaper now. So that's the downside. So I think it's good that OBSBOT made the NDI a separate thing, because not everyone's actually going to use that. Like, honestly, other than for testing, I'm probably not going to use it, because my main interest in this was the HDMI connection, so I can actually wire it into the studio. Although I will say it is very cool having wireless cameras. Do you need the license to use NDI on the OBSBOT? You do, yeah. So what it is the NDI is like a special feature you have to turn on in the settings for the camera, and then you have to paste in the license key that you get from them. Otherwise, there's just no NDI on it. Oh yeah, this is a great one. I have the CR N500, and it's great, but so big and heavy. 10 pounds? That's so big. That is like the weight of 10 of my cats. Canon charges $1,200 for auto tracking software. Wow, yeah, that's expensive. So these little OBSBOTs are a good deal then. Okay, I think that was that's it on the YoloBox for now. Let me go back to the desk really quick. Oh, not sure if I missed it. Does the YoloBox Ultra include the NDI license? Huh. Speaking of NDI licenses, I don't remember actually. I think it. Let's see if we can find it on the website. Oh, one of the other tricks. Yeah, it's not. Now I can't remember if I had. Okay. No, there it is. It's not included. Free version of NDI is a trial period of 5 minutes. Then you have to purchase for unlimited use. Right now, they don't have a way to buy it on the website, so you just contact them. That's what it is. So you can try it out, 5-minute time limit when you are testing it. Great. Okay. Answered that. Which, again, I think it makes more sense to do it that way. $99 for a USB Ethernet adapter. That's where they make their money back. I don't know if you can use other brand Ethernet adapters with it, but this one, they did a good job with this though, because it's you want it on a nice long cable. So yeah, I have no idea if this is a generic adapter or not. It very well might be. Maybe I can go try that. Do I have one around here somewhere? Well, okay, it's not just an Ethernet adapter. It's PoE adapter. I don't know how to buy one of those, actually. So can you find a third-party PoE adapter that has USB in and supplies that power over the USB port? That's the question. That's what makes this one useful. So, yeah. I saw a video that said it was an option. Oh, for the NDI, yeah, it's a add-on feature. So if you want NDI, go email support, YoloLive support, and you'll be able to get it sorted out. OBSBOT said it's a specialized adapter to provide the power and bandwidth that the camera needs. Yeah, it's definitely a specialized adapter. I've never looked for a PoE USB that also has USB power option. So it's interesting. Okay, let me scroll back. There were some questions earlier that I skipped. Ryan says, since you're using the Blackmagic Web Presenters for streaming, how do you deal with the infamous crushed blacks and super contrasty output from the encoders in the Web Presenter and the ATEM Mini? So that problem is specific to the USB output, like the UVC output. The main encoding stream is does not have that problem of crushed black. So you're looking at the stream from the Web Presenter in this stream right now. If I pull up the webcam view, you'll see the difference. So if I go to, I can pull up QuickTime. Oops, wrong super source. Let me set this up really quick. Go to QuickTime, pull up movie player, movie recording. Yeah. So if I do this side by side, you should see the problem. You can tell because the colors keep shifting every time it does the tunnel vision. So you can see how the reds are getting darker as it goes down. So that's the problem with the UVC output. But as far as the stream goes, the stream is fine. I also don't actually think it looks that bad. So like, how can I do this? I can't, because it's the actual stream. I wanted to show you my computer screen, but if I do that, it's going to do tunnel vision again. Yeah. That's a fun effect. It's art. Wow. How far can it go before it just starts? Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I don't really have a way to show you that because that is the thing doing the stream. And the other ATEM is not plugged in over USB. Yeah, that's the problem. Oh well. Anyway, what I was going to say is it doesn't actually look bad. Like as I'm looking at it compared to the one on my monitor. So I'm looking at, let's see, is this still working? Yeah. That's the QuickTime view. That's my multi-view coming out of the ATEM. And I look at this and the picture looks fine. Like it doesn't look that bad because the way I've exposed the shot does not rely on a bunch of information in the dark edge of the picture. So like technically, yes, the blacks are crushed, but if you're looking at only the webcam feed here, you're not going to notice it. So it just doesn't matter most of the time for me, frankly. Video art. Technobuzz says, no, you cannot use other PoE adapters for the OBSBOT. I've tried 3 now. Okay, good to know. Yeah. Do I prefer the Web Presenter over the ATEM streaming encoders? Better quality? I'm pretty sure they're exactly the same. I haven't noticed any differences at all. They even both behave the same when things go wrong. So if you have a choppy network connection, they're both going to fail in the same way, which is failing terribly. So if you're in a bad internet situation, the ATEM and Web Presenter are not a good option. So YoloBox does better. Any other encoder does better. Web Presenter over SRT might actually do better now. So I'm yeah. Delmix says it definitely looks bad. I'm dark skinned. That is a valid concern for sure. But like if let me see. I can drop my lighting here and those ones are disconnected. I can't do that. I can do it at the table. Yeah, if the part of the picture is in that dark area that starts to get crushed, then yeah, it's not good. So just grab another capture card and yeah. Ooh, T-minus 2 minutes to cat food drop. Let's get ready. I need to set up a feed for the other camera. Let me do that really quick. Let's see if I can do it fast. Because I have a camera on the cat food itself, and then we can cut between them. I will grab the RTSP feed from the other camera and bring that into the Magewell. And there we go. Let's see if that works. Then we go to that one. Oh, nope. There it goes. Oh, that one. I was pushing the wrong button. There we go. So we should be able to watch them jump from there over to there in a minute. Exactly a minute, in fact. Cat feeding super source. I don't know if I have enough time to do that. I might. Super source 2 has the Apple TV. Box 2 has the what is it? Pro Convert. And now, oh, I should have done the other way around. Do I have time? I do. 30 seconds. Apple TV and Pro Convert. And now we have this view. Excellent. One is from the Apple TV, one is from the Pro Convert. 20 seconds. Snack time. Action cats. Okay. Oh, okay. This is almost happening. This is too good. I can't. We're taking a little kitten break at the top of the hour here. Oh, stretch. Here goes. Any second now, the clock is going to go off. Oh, there it is. And are they going to do it, or are they too tired? Oh, rejected food. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Either that or the food is empty and it didn't actually come out. That could be. I need to go to the store today. There should be a 60-second cat feeding countdown. Oh, I should have put music on. Yeah. I should add epic countdown music for feeding time on streams, maybe on the New Year's stream. Absolutely. We're going to get a lot of cat feeding times on New Year's stream. They had a lot of food this morning. They had a lot of playtime already. I woke up at 4 a.m. and they were already demanding food, and they had wet food. They had a couple of treats. Then I put them in their little harnesses to do harness training and ran around the house making them chase treats, which worked really well today. So they've had a busy morning. Okay, back to business. Oh wow, I missed a chunk. Sorry. And Blanco says Android 14 December feature drop mobile as USB camera. Oh really? What is it, like an OS for all Android devices, or is it just for like a couple? That's interesting. I hadn't heard about that yet. Do I use a Wi-Fi booster? No, I have everything wired. So the like access point has each access point. Well, I only have one right now because there's only one in the studio up there. But the plan is in the house, each access point gets a direct hardwire to the network rack. So there's no Wi-Fi like boosting happening. Really a lot better that way. Robert says, would it be possible to use a Scarhoy switcher to control the YoloBox Pro? Not at the moment. There's no option for remote control of the YoloBox right now. I have asked them for it many times. They are now beginning to understand that people are interested in that option. So eventually, once they do support it, then yes. But they have to add remote control support first. Let your nerd be heard. Any plans to make a 2024 Remarkable Planner? It's already out. It is already up on my Etsy shop. I'll drop that link in here. I guess I can take down the 2023. I'll take it down at the end of the year. Yeah, it's already up there. It is exactly the same as the 2023, but now for 2024. It is, I'm actually really happy with it. So the year pages, but the cool thing is because it's a Remarkable, it's a linked PDF. So you can click on any of the dates and go to the day page, or click on the month name and jump over to the month page. So you get the month pages. You can click on these to navigate. You get the little tiny calendar up there. You can navigate. It's very cool. My Remarkable is not close by, otherwise I would show you in real life. I should probably do a little short video about it now that it's planner season again. But yeah, it's very cool. Wrong camera. Oh, the website doesn't list 2024. That is a good point. I need to fix that. You're right. It is linked. It is probably the old one here. Yeah, I need to update that. Thank you. I will fix that. For the YoloBox Ultra, do you know if you can ISO record remote guests? I suspect not right now, because the only ISO options I see right now are the HDMI feeds. Let's check really quick. If I add a, wait, where is it? There it is. If I add a guest, I can just, isn't there an option to send yourself a link? Yeah. I can send myself an email and join the live stream on my computer, which is going to be a little bit weird. I don't want to use the Blackmagic camera. Let's use the other capture card. Yeah. And the other capture card. Okay. Built-in speakers. Join the event. Okay, so now I'm down there as the remote guest. It's the same camera, but what can I can make it show a different camera. Let's do, what is that? SDI capture card. Let's make it show, what would be a good second, I guess we can use that OBSBOT. That's plugged into, where are you plugged in? 14. There we go. So, that is the remote feed from my computer. So it's coming through the OBSBOT. Can I ISO record? Let's find out. No, it's not showing up as an option here. So only program and HDMIs are showing up. I don't have a USB 1 plugged in. I think that USBs don't either. Yeah, sorry. That would be really cool. I don't know what the reason is they did it that way. I suspect it's definitely worth a feature request, because I absolutely obviously see the use case of recording the remote people. Now we know. I should leave that call before things get confusing. Is there any update for the sing button on the ATEM Extreme? No, nobody knows. Nobody knows what the sing button was meant to do, or if it'll ever get updated at this point. My HyperDeck Gen 1 runs for 4 months continuously now. After switch of power and switch on after 4 weeks, it's dead. Any ideas? That's unfortunate. I also have the original HyperDeck, and the same thing happened to me. I had it on for ages and it was fine, and then I went to go move it to home, and then it stopped powering on. Now I can't remember which one. It supports PoE or the computer plug-in, and one of them stopped working, but the other one still works. And I can't remember which one stopped working. But my suggestion would be, if the mains power is not working, try PoE. Or if PoE is not working, try mains power, because maybe only one of those broke. Speaking of power, Daniel says, I would like to switch off the ATEM Mini Extreme when I'm not using it. There is no power switch on it. So one thing you can do is plug it into a Wi-Fi power switch, and then just have a button on your Stream Deck or whatever to power it off that way, which honestly is a fine option. The other option is there is somebody made a little 12 volt, a thing that plugs between the ATEM power and the ATEM with a physical switch on it. I'm trying to find the link for it. There it is. Let's see if this is still for sale. Yeah, great. 313 sold. Wow, well done. ATEM power switch. This is probably what you want. So this little thing, you plug in the main power from your power brick, and then that goes into the ATEM, and then it just gives you a physical switch. And then you just flick that on and off. He sent me one of these a while ago, and it's actually up on the ATEM up in Lily's studio, which has been doing well. Not that we ever turn it off, so yeah. IT Never Gets Old says, I use the Casa Wi-Fi plug in Companion. Cool, yeah. Did I set up the on-air light yet? No, I have not yet. It's going to take a little bit of time to figure out how I want to do that. Have I used Vivo meetings similar to Zoom meetings? If yes, thoughts. Can stream 1080 for all plans, but the audio still needs improvement. Never heard of it, sorry. CJ says, do you have plans to update the video for the DIY streaming bridge? Because the tutorial is out of date. Yes, I know. It's really unfortunate. Where is that? That's not a good search. the blog post. Whoa, I did it a long time ago, apparently. Where's my blog post about it? Wow. I'm going to have to scroll way back. Okay, let's do it a different way. There it is. I was trying to see if I updated the blog post at least. No. Somebody did figure out how to make it work with VLC similarly. So I do have an update for it that I can do. The other reason I haven't redone this is because it was a little bit of a hack. It works. It's definitely a bit of a hack. I should probably just update it. Because it does work. Yeah. Anna says, good afternoon. I like the ATEM ISO because it records all cameras. Is there any other equipment that does this? Good question. So, very little or very expensive. The new YoloBox Ultra that just came out does have ISO support. It doesn't work exactly the same way as the ATEM one. But you do get to choose you can record either 4K or 1080 or 720 feeds for the different cameras. It's limited to the HDMI options, the inputs right now, so it won't do ISO of USB cameras, but that supports it, and it's one of the few devices that does it. There's a Atomos, what is it? Atomos Shogun or something 7. Is that the one? I think it's this one. Which does have 4 inputs and records all 4 at the same time. This is expensive and just a recorder, not all the other stuff that you get with the ATEM or the YoloBox. And then the other option people do often is stacking a bunch of HyperDecks. So if you get a bunch of these together, like you can just do the minis even. Like Photo Joseph actually has 6 of the HyperDecks, the original ones. And that's how he does his ISO recording. So people do this pretty often, I would say, but it obviously adds up fast. There's one other, I'm not remembering that. There's one other thing that does it, and maybe somebody remembers in the chat, but there's not a lot of things. This is why I always say that like the ATEM Mini Extreme, either the Pro ISO or the Extreme ISO are like hands down the cheapest way to get 4 or 8 channel recording. Oh, Shogun 7 is discontinued. Okay. And the latest one doesn't even do multi-input. Great. So yeah, the ATEM it's absolutely the cheapest way to get 4-channel recording, because the YoloBox Ultra does have ISO recording in it, but it only has 4 HDMIs. So it's very expensive if you're getting it for just the ISO recording, because the ATEM Mini Pro ISO is like $500 or something. So, yeah, I don't know. Do you have any recommendations for power zoom for Micro Four Thirds? I want to put the Blackmagic Micro 4K and have control over the zoom. Can't find one at the moment. As far as I know, there are only 2, at least Lumix branded, and they're not the best lenses. So there's a 14-42 and a 45-150. I think those are the 2. And they are definitely not my favorite lenses for Micro Four Thirds. I do have the 45-150, and I was not super impressed with it. It doesn't get very wide aperture, so it's not super great for low light. But it does have power zoom, and it does work with the Blackmagic stuff. But yeah, I have not found a good option for that. What companion plugin is used for the OBSBOT Tail Air. Oh yeah. So I'm actually gonna have a video about this next week, so I'm not gonna give you the whole rundown today. But the short version is because it works with the Visca plugin. So it supports generic PTZ camera commands. So these are all the presets from the Visca stuff. So it doesn't support every action in here. Like it doesn't have some of the lens features and it doesn't have some of the exposure features, but it does support a bunch. And like it supports the speed controls and, oh, maybe this home button, I should put that in the middle. That was for the wrong camera. But yeah, so it supports Visca, so that's the short version. But anyway, I have a video coming out hopefully this week about it. So stay tuned and I'll go through the whole setup process in that video. I think Blackmagic should release a HyperDeck ISO. I think so too. That'd be very cool. Yeah. I mean, it makes sense that they have like them all separately, so you can just buy however many you need. But it would be cool to have like a device that's basically 3 HyperDeck minis in one. Maybe it's only one screen. I could see like a 4-channel recorder or something. One of the, is it this one that does? Can you fake it with this one? I can't remember now. I've never used this one because it's so expensive. I feel like one of these does support essentially ISO recording through the quad link, but it's not really what it's for. Yeah. Okay, where was I? OBSBOT. Talk about the Switch. How am I liking Companion 3.2 beta? It's been great. I'm very happy with it so far. I've been one of the things actually is used in one of the new features they use for this button, which is really cool. So they have this new timed section. So you can, let me do this from scratch. If you want a button that's like to do something different, the more you hold it down, you can actually do that now. So you can say like when you press it, what do? We go, let's do something silly. Let's make a button that as I hold it down, it'll start rotating through the cameras one by one as I keep holding it down. Set the program input. So we're going to start with the desk camera, and then I add a duration group, and you can change the time. So if I push it for 1 second, then we're gonna do something else. We can set the program to the overhead camera, and then I can add a new button, which is if I hold it for 2 seconds, we'll switch to the Apple TV. Program input, Apple TV, and make a new one, which is after 3 seconds, we switch to the Pro Convert, and then finally when we release after 4 seconds, we go back to the camera. So let's try it. Let's go. I'm gonna push the button on the Stream Deck, and I'm gonna hold it down. So it should immediately cut to the desk, and then after a second, switch over there, over there, over there, and hold on that camera until I release, and it goes back to the desk. It's very cool. That's a new feature in Companion 3, which you can probably imagine you can do a lot of interesting stuff with that. I actually realized that it wasn't what I wanted it to. I don't want it to do anything after. Yeah, I'm gonna switch it back to hold action. So now I can just hold it down and rotate through all the cameras. And oh, I should make it that if I release the button early, it goes back to the desk. So I think if I do that, then it works. Let's see. So let's try it. I'm going to go hold it down for 1, 2, 3, and then release. Oh, it's stuck. Interesting. There's a way to do it. Add a duration group, release. They did it for this. Short release action, recall preset, held, release after. I think that's what it is. I think what I have to do is I have to go in here and make, let's see, I actually don't want to switch to the desk camera because that's the one that's already on. So let's go switch over to, like the first one, be this camera. Short release. I think I might need to add a release after each one. That's a millisecond after. So we're going to go edit this to be 1,000. Oops. Edit this to be 1001. So it goes up. Oops, you're not seeing the screen. So I'm going to make a new. So the sequence is press, it goes to table side. If I release it immediately, it comes back to the desk camera. If I hold it for a second, it cuts to the next camera. And if I release it right after that, then it cuts back to the desk camera. And then we're going to do it again for the, let's actually test that. So I should be able to test this. If I release after we see the overhead table, it should come back to the desk. Ha, yeah, great. So I can go and make a new group for 2001 and then change that to the desk. And I do the same for 3001. Add a new duration group for 3001. And change that to the desk. And then a new group for 4001. And same thing, program. Okay, so now I should be able to cycle through the cameras. And at any point, if I release the button from, it'll jump back to the desk camera. Look at that. I love it. Totally pointless feature. I have that feature in 3.1. Yeah, I went from 2 point whatever to 3, so I skipped any early 3 betas. Can the durations be random or ATEM macros? Be great for randomizing camera switching. You can do that, I think. Can you do randomized camera switching? You can make, so you can say program input, and then the duration is fixed there, but there's also steps. So if we go to step 2, we can make that cut to the overhead. That delay is fixed. I'm looking for, can we use a variable here? Interesting. So if we had a button that's got a bunch of steps in it, can we push the button at random intervals? So this one, if I push, it should cycle through the cameras now. Yeah. So I'm pushing the same button and it's cycling through the cameras. So can I push the button at a random interval? Can we do that in triggers? I don't think so. This was for my automated stream. It was funny. That's interesting. So there's this variables section where you can make your own custom variables, or and then you have actions to set those, but I don't know if custom. set with expression, but I don't think we have the ability to use like functions here, like random. And even if we did, I don't see any way to use this variable in. Yeah, interesting. Let me know if you have another idea. I don't see a way to do it. Yeah, I don't see it. I don't see a way with triggers either. Han says, can you make a button on the Stream Deck to blink until you press it? Interesting question. Blink until you press it. So there is a couple of new feedback states in here too. So if we go make a new button here, there's so we can check a value. Can we make it blink? So we can say, let's make a new variable first. So let's say create a custom variable. This will be called button blink. Okay. And it is value 1. So if the variable is, I have too many variables and it takes a long time to filter that list. If the variable is 1, okay, so can I change that variable? What would cause it to start blinking? That's the question. So let's make a new one here, which is start blinking, which is going to set the variable to 1. What would make it start blinking? So then what we need to do is make a trigger that says blink on a condition becoming true. Condition, check value. We're going to grab our blink. This is what we're going to do. So when it turns to 1, we're going to add an action, which is turning it back to 0 after a second. So with this in place, where is this? Why don't I see it in this list? Where did it go? What the heck? Where did it go? Add trigger. Do I have to shoot? Blink on condition, check value. How do I save this? Why is there no save button? What's going on? Yeah, now do it. That's weird. I don't understand what's... Is that messing it up? Why is there no save? Condition? Huh. Is there a... Oh gosh, it was just a glitch. So I have a bunch of them now. Okay, let's clean this up. I refreshed, and here they all are. Okay. Let's get rid of that one and turn that on. Okay, now that that's there, if I go back here and push this, it should turn off in a second. Oh, I actually need I need one that's, it's gonna take a while to build this. What I need to do is I need to make a variable that says blinking is turned on, and then we can turn that on, and then the button, when you push it, it would turn that variable off. But then I need a different variable for the background state. So we'll use this button for turning the blinking off. So when I push it, it'll set it to 0. But the background state needs to be a different variable. So we're going to make a new variable called blink background. And then it's going to just be, this is the one that we're going to toggle every second. So back in the triggers, we're going to go, instead, we're going to blink, set the background back to 0. So if both of these are true, if blinking is enabled and it's on, then we want to turn it off. And then I guess I need another one that says if blinking is enabled and it's off, we turn it back on. So let's copy it. Did that copy it? Let's refresh the page. Yes, it did. Blink off. So if the background is 0, then the background becomes 1. Then we go back to the button. Isn't companion fun? It's kind of like programming. Feedback is now based, oops, no, this one is now based on the background. No. Feedback is based on the background. So I guess I can make that button start blinking. No, we're gonna make this one start blinking because otherwise set variable blink to 1. So probably want actually more than 1 second. And then if I push it, it should stop blinking. Oh, but it also stayed red. So let's change that. Let's make the trigger actually go more like half a second. So it really gets our attention. And when you push it, it does 2 things. It sets both variables to 0. So start blinking. And if I push it, it should go back to 0. There we go. There you go. Now we have a button that blinks until you press it. That was a fun demo. Let's see. Scott came in with an idea. Let's see if this is what I did. After 1 second, change the value to 2, and wait 1 second, then change the value to 1. Then on button press, change value to 0. Oh, I could have done it with 1 variable instead of 2 variables. That would probably have worked. Yep. Yep, good idea. Could be handy to remind me to go live. It's a good idea. Or to stop streaming, because sometimes you end the stream on YouTube but forget to actually stop pushing to YouTube. Cool. Good question. Graham says, can you get a companion to debounce a button? I've got one for auto on the ATEM. If it's pressed quickly, the transition freezes halfway through, which confuses volunteers. I agree. Yes, I have seen that problem happen many times to people. If you do, if you do, oh, I have it set to sting. Let's just do mix. You can pause halfway through and then it's very confusing. So can we make a button that says, can we make a button to do the auto transition? So let's start with that. We apparently need to have a stream that's just companion hacks. Do auto. Now, can I make it so that you can't push this again until you have to know your transition time, which I don't think is, actually, maybe it is available here. Let's see if it is. That might be too advanced, but let's see. What's it called in the ATEM? Rate? No, okay. So it's not a variable, so let's just say my transition time is 1 second. So can I make it so that this can't be pushed more than once a second? Basically, we would have to say, we don't do Can we do we get conditions? I think we have to do it with a separate button. We have to have two buttons. So hide away this button on some screen that no one's going to touch. This is the actual auto button. Hide that button away. Then on the actual button you want people to push, which is this one. Let's make this one green. This is the one people would push. What we can do is we can say button press if expression is true. So we're going to push that button. We're going to say, that's what, 3/2. So we're going to push that button if the expression is true, which is going to be a new variable. We'll say auto debounce, and its startup value is 0. So when it's pushed, when this is pushed, we're going to say set the variable debounce to 1, and then this is only going to push that button if that is 0. Does that work? Oh, and then when this is pushed, we're going to add another action, which is going to run after a second. We'll make it 50 milliseconds just to make sure we don't have any. Okay, so when you actually push the real auto button, it's going to actually do the auto transition. It's going to set debounce to 1, and then after a second, set it back to 0. So hide that button on some screen that no one sees. This is the button that people see. It's only going to push the real button if debounce is set to 0. So it should work. If I push it, oh, you know what we can do? We can also add feedback, which will be if a transition is running. So we can basically say, check the variable debounce. I have too many things in my ATEM. If the variable is 1, then the background is going to be a brighter green. So when the button is not able to be pushed, it should turn green, brighter green. So push it. Of course, it actually changes the camera. So can I push it fast? Nope. It's totally working. There you go. Pushing it a bunch of times and it's not pausing the transition. Cool. I did notice that the real auto button had a little timer, little play icon because it was running that delay. So that's cool too. There you go. I like it. You can make it so you have to hold and release for the transition. How would that work? I don't see how that would work. Did I do the timestamp for the demo? I don't know what timestamp you're talking about. Okay, let me scroll back through older questions. Daniel says, I would like to switch to powered on the ATEM. If I do not use it, when I switch it on again, I'd like to start with the same settings. Can I use the Stream Deck to recover the settings? No, it's actually even easier than that. You don't even need to do that. The ATEM Mini Extreme will keep the media pool, all the images in the media pool when it powers down. So what you need to do is just go up into File and click Save Startup State. This is a magic button. You should always know about this. As soon as you have your stuff the way you want it, click Save Startup State. And now when it powers back on, it'll just power back on in the exact same state that you left it. So if you change a bunch of cameras and change settings, and then like you've changed a bunch of stuff, it'll revert back to the last time you clicked Save Startup State. Every now and then you should also go and click the Save As, which will export a XML file with everything, and that way you can like actually restore your settings in case something else happens. it's a good idea to do that as well. But save startup state is your friend. George says, for conference shooting, would you go with a camcorder or use a Blackmagic 4K camera? What's your view? It depends on a lot of things, I guess. So are you the only person running the show, or do you have camera operators? How big is the room? How much money do you have? The nice thing about the Blackmagic cameras is they can be controlled remotely from the ATEM somewhat, like the exposure and stuff and color, which is really useful in that kind of setting. They're expensive, and you have to buy the lenses, which are also expensive, so it adds up fast. There's some relatively affordable camcorders, which are nice as like a all-in-one thing, so you don't have to worry about setup time. There's a lot fewer stuff to connect usually to get the camcorders up and running. Downside being no remote control options, but if you have people at the cameras that you are at least confident in, then that's probably fine. So it depends on a lot of that kind of stuff. I ended up using camcorders because I didn't want to spend like $2,000 per camera to get the full, or I think it would end up being more than that even, for like the Blackmagic camera setup. Also, when I was doing this, there weren't a lot of the Blackmagic cameras that are out now, so the menu of options was much different. And yeah, it depends is the answer. What are you doing says you can make a save startup state button in Companion too. Oh, that's cool. I didn't actually realize that was like a action that's available. Save. Let's see. Save. Look at that. It's just right there. That's handy. You know what I might actually recommend in that case? Add that action to whatever's the button that you push last, like your last button in the show, right? Because then it's like whatever you did, you know that it'll at least come back to that. That's cool. I did not realize that action existed in Companion. Oh yeah, do you want PTZ cameras? Because that's the other option too. Because then you get remote control over them. Michael says, I've personally loved using camcorders for conference shooting, full-length keynotes, but usually I have one shooter with a mirrorless for that kind of coverage as well. Yeah, I will say either camcorder or Blackmagic cameras are going to be better than mirrorless cameras if you don't have somebody operating them, because they're a lot easier to get just like to power on all the time and not worry about. So mirrorless cameras are going to be cheaper and usually get better recordings, but you need someone to run them. I'm looking through this and I'm seeing a bunch of double questions. People have been asking the same question twice, because that just ends up confusing me. Because then it looks like it's not checked off on my list. Thoughts on the new Panasonic HSV10 has SRT and NDI inputs in addition to the hardware inputs. HSV10, is this the one that's like, that's not a good search term. Apparently there's some valve. Yeah, this is the $6,000 switcher. Interesting is what I will say. SDI, NDI, HDMI. What are the ports on the back? 4 SDI in, 2 SDI out, 2 HDMI in. I'm guessing those are paired, so it's not actually 6 input. USB out, Tally LAN, audio. What do the buttons look like? User buttons. I hope it has network control, because this is not an intuitive interface. But NDI input is interesting. It seems very expensive. That is my thought on this. For 1080, it's not 4K. It does have conversion, good. Sync, good. Yeah, I'm confused. NDI input. Looks like that's not a separate license, speaking of bundling the NDI fee into it. Interesting. Not quite sure why I would want to spend $6,000 on that. I feel like at that price, you can... I mean, it's compact, it's all in one, but at that price, I would probably rather actually put together a kit from multiple pieces, like buy an NDI encoder or decoder separately, which can get up to like $500 each. But yeah, interesting. Name brand switchers. Yeah, too much price. Blackmagic will give you a lot for that. Mike, so I guess I sort of consider the Blackmagic... Oh, Pocket Cinema camera mirrorless. Yeah, sorry, I was talking about the other Blackmagic cameras. I would also agree that the cinema camera counts as in the same category as a mirrorless camera, minus the fact that it has remote control from the ATEM. But I was talking about like the... I was thinking about these cameras, which are also pretty cool. 6,000 is a lot of cash. You can buy a lot of Blackmagic switcher plus Magewells. Exactly. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. Like, let's do a little shopping list. Blackmagic. So they get like 6-ish inputs with that, right? So, I mean, ATEM Mini Extreme ISO is honestly a pretty good option if you're only going to end up with 8 inputs anyway. And otherwise, we could go like 1 ME, no super source in that, which is a bummer. But for cheaper than the Extreme, we get that, and then we get it's only $1,000, so we still have $5,000 left to buy NDI encoders and decoders, and those are like those are... So here's an encoder. If we go, we don't need 4K, so let's go get the fancy one. Which, speaking of, I should probably actually buy one of these at some point. Where is the price? Of course, there's no price on theirs, on their site, because that makes sense. Let's go to B&H. $540. Okay, yeah, 4K is like 1,000, but we're not doing 4K because that doesn't have 4K. So this one's also 4K. That has to be a typo. Otherwise, what's the difference? Yeah. We could go SDI instead. $500. So you could buy a lot of gear. What else does that Panasonic thing have? We would have to buy some converters, HDMI converters, because it has HDMI and SDI, which is fair, very useful, very useful. It has audio in, which Constellation has audio in. Yeah, I don't know. We also have SRT. Okay, so we need web presenter. So that's another $600. So we can throw in a web presenter. The Constellation has a USB port already. It has multi-view. Okay, at least this has remote control. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you can buy a lot of gear. Oh yeah, the Magewells do SRT also. So yeah, gosh. It does have, the 6,000 switcher does have scalers on the inputs. It does. So you would have to get a new ATEM. You can't use the old ATEMs. But I don't know. I think Pro AV did a video on the $6,000 switcher recently. I'll have to go watch that. Can you make a button to save startup state and then power off? Sure, but you have to have a power switch that you can control from Companion. But yeah. Any rumors of a cut file functionality to complement the ISO recording of the YoloBox Ultra? I have not heard that in any of the rumblings about the new features yet. They have been busy working on bug fixes and tweaking some of the last features before the launch this week, but that was not on the list as far as I know. full on Kitten Constellation, also Extreme for ISO recording. Right. Yeah, grab the... You can make a nice little kit out of this if you have $6,000, honestly. Grab the Constellation HD. No, get this, might as well, right? Spend the extra $700. Get the 2ME, gives you 12 outputs. Take 8 of those outputs and run them into the ATEM SDI for ISO recording. Then you still have 4 outputs left for doing stuff to like to a stage monitor, like a projector or conference monitor. 1 for your main recording into a hyperdeck. Grab a hyperdeck or 2 for redundant recording. I mean, that sounds like a great box, right? Be a fun little kit to build. I have almost everything to build that. ATEM SDI. We need to grab a... This is a fun game. We need to grab 2 hyperdecks. We need to grab the Web Presenter. And it's so weird they don't have the streaming bridge in that category. How are we doing? So we have Constellation, 2 ME, 12 outputs go into the SDI for ISO recording. Then we have 2 of the Hyperdeck Studio Minis daisy chained so that we have 2 program recordings just for redundancy. You never know when an SD card is going to blow up. And then the last, you chain those hyperdecks together and the output goes into the Web Presenter for streaming, either SRT or RTMP. And then you have on all your inputs, you have a bunch of NDI decoders. NDI to SDI. This is the one I have in the rack. So you grab 2 of these and you have 2 NDI or SRT feeds going into your ATEM. I guess we need to buy a couple of converters to get HDMI. I really wish they would have a multi, like give me a rack, give me a 1/3 rack of your cute little 1/3 cases with like a bunch of these converters in it. Seriously. Like, I don't know why that's so complicated. Tempted to just go like build one. The cases come off with 2 screws. It's really easy. And then there's just a circuit board inside. You could hack something together. Anyway, don't need 12G. We need just the regular ones, 3Gs. And we need to go HDMI to SDI. So $55. So grab a couple of these and then we've got HDMI ports that we can use. If you get them bidirectional, you can take advantage of the auto switching that it does to give you both HDMI and SDI into the same input. That's closer to how that one works. So grab one of these, and then if you plug in HDMI, then the SDI out is that, or if you plug in SDI, then the SDI passes through. So grab a couple of those. Now you've got HDMIs or SDIs in all of your inputs to the Constellation, which has, what, 20 on the 2ME, I think. It's a good little kit. Just going to say. And that, I think, is still less than $6,000. The Panasonic says it has a 16-way multi-view. Yeah, so does the Blackmagic. Like, that's just the multi-view that you see up there, right? There's 16s, 4x4. I can turn that one into a 4 if I wanted to. Christopher says the piecemeal approach is a lot more physical space and probably need a 3-4U rack case. Yes, that is true. You do get it all built in one little case, one little package with the Panasonic. That is the big difference at that point. As much as I like small all-in-one things like the YoloBox, I feel like for the things that this is going to be good at, I would actually rather have it broken out into pieces. One of the reasons is if some part of it breaks in this thing, the entire thing is dead and you can't use it. Whereas if one of my converters fails or one of my hyperdeck power supplies blows up, I can at least swap it out and keep everything else running. So yeah, with the YoloBox, if the YoloBox SD card slot breaks for some reason, then the whole thing I can't use, which is a problem, but I'm going to use that in a totally different way than I would use all this Blackmagic gear or even this Panasonic gear. So that's the trade-off. So you can send via one output all the sources to the ATEM ISO. Well, what was that? What was that a question? Oh, you don't need the web presenter if you stream from the Extreme. Yeah, that's a good point too. We were using the Extreme for the ISO recording, but there's no reason you couldn't just feed. You would lose one ISO recording because you'd have to have one of your inputs to the Extreme be the program feed, which we didn't necessarily have to do with a web presenter. Does that mean the Panasonic can support 10 concurrent NDI or SRT in addition to the SDI and HDMI inputs? It's not clear. It's not clear to me. It is definitely not clear what the limits are. Let's see if their own website has any better details. Sure, you can cookie me. Let's see if it's in their specs. I don't know what the 4 and 3 and 1 and 2 means. That's interesting. Does it have anything about... No, it doesn't. Does it have anything about number of NDIs? Video inputs. There it is. Yeah, I have no idea what the two columns are. That doesn't make any sense. Are these two different models or something? 2 NDI SRT and 2 high bandwidth NDI. Okay. So no, not 10 at all. You said you'll connect one output of the 2ME to the ATEM for ISO recording. So how does the 2ME send all the outputs for ISO recording? Oh, so the Constellation 2ME has, let's look at the back of it, 2ME Constellation. It has 12 output ports. That's why this thing is so cool. So you can take 8 of these, take the first 8 and run 8 SDI lines into the ATEM Mini Extreme for ISO recording. And then whatever 8 you want, 8 of your inputs you want to record, you set them as the aux outputs for those 8. And that leaves these 4 outputs for other things. So one could be your program out to the hyperdeck, which could record to the other hyperdeck to the web presenter for your program. You could use another one for a monitor on the stage, things like that. That's how that connects. Ten concurrent NDI would require at least 2.5 gigs anyway, if not 10. True, yeah. There's a 19-inch rack case available for 14 Lynx yellow brick converters that centralize power and configuration. Oh, that's good. That's good. Seabird says, what camera would you recommend for recording a support training small class? I assume you mean like recording only, not streaming. So I think if you're only talking about recording and it's just like a small room, definitely get something with a microphone input in it so that you can run at least run a wireless mic from the presenter into that camera directly. The other thing I would say is if it's something where it's like you just want to set a camera up in the back of the room, hit record, and not think about it again, probably go for a camcorder because they're just a lot less fiddly compared to DSLRs, mirrorless options, which you might have to keep an eye on more to make sure that it hasn't overheated or make sure that, I don't know, I never trust leaving a mirrorless or DSLR far away from me where I can't keep a close eye on it. But a camcorder, like that, those things are made to just record for 6 hours at a time and not even think twice about it. So, that's probably what I would do. And then you just get like, it's cheap. It's like no fuss. Oh, this is a good point. You're kind of throwing a wrench into my plans. You can't use the output ports of the Constellation for real ISO recording because they don't pass audio from the sources. That is true. You lose the audio from the sources. So if you want to record ISO, if you want to mirror the extreme ISO does actually give you separate audio files for the inputs, but if you're feeding those from a Constellation, then you lose that. So if the ISO recording, if the audio ISO is important, then you would need to go a different route. Or just use the extreme ISO for the whole thing. Airport Action says, regarding YoloBox Ultra, is the 100 gig monthly bonding bandwidth the max you supply? I use a lot more streaming every month. Oh, really? Do you... Airport Action. I'm guessing you, like, go to airports and watch planes. That sounds like fun. I'm going to have to follow your channel. I don't know what the maximum bonding bandwidth is. Mine is, they gave me the 50 gig plan, and I have definitely not used it all. YoloLive network bonding. I know that they have a bunch of different plans, though. Oh, hey, my video's on their page. Oh, I have to log in to see it. I'm pretty sure that if you asked them, they would be able to give you a bigger plan. That's my suspicion. Email their support and ask, and also ask for a discount, because they do, the 20% off if you're going for a year or whatever. I bet they can make a plan that's bigger if you really needed it. Do I have a specific camcorder to recommend? It may also be used for streaming input to ATEM or YoloBox. No, I haven't bought a camcorder like recently enough to have done a bunch of research on them, unfortunately. I would, Doug Johnson has some. Let me find his. He uses camcorders for a lot of stuff. And he might have some recommendations. So I'll just drop his channel in here. But if we go to, he has a video from 2 months ago about exactly this, which is, which video cameras do I use for live production and why? Doug uses Sony camcorders, somebody says. And let's see if... Yeah, he has a whole list here. Great. So go watch his video. He has a whole breakdown of it. That's great. Bunch of Sony camcorders. And yes, I like that he includes that there really aren't any bad options. So these are not cheap. Some of these are not cheap. You can see. Here's the cheapest one, is like $1,000. But that's... yeah. If you go for like the $200 camcorder, you're going to be pretty disappointed with the picture. I will just say that. Technicom says, come on, this is some really good information and an interesting discussion. Smash the like button. Thank you for the reminder. Okay, speaking of, it's been 2 hours. Oh, I totally didn't see the Kitten break at the top of the hour, but they are busy taking a bath now on the couch. So I wonder if they got up and ate food at 11. I think not. I think they're actually full. Nerds of Unusual Origin says, do you think the Blackmagic is likely to add functionality to the camera app for use with the ATEM line? For instance, fixing the slight delay or use of the gain and shutter speed buttons. It would be very cool if it was remote controllable from the ATEM. It doesn't seem like... Well, they can't do it over HDMI because they don't have control over the HDMI port in the phone. It would be cool, but yeah, I don't know. But at least it has clean HDMI out, so you can at least use it that way. You need the blinking button to remind you about the Kitten break. That's a good idea. I should totally get a little blinking button in here that starts blinking like 30 seconds before the top of the hour. I could totally do that. I could do that. Airport Action says, thank you so much for your help. We do an average 5 live streams a week for an average 6+ hours at 4K. That is a lot. That is a lot. The other airplane channel that I ran into at some point is this airline videos, because I saw them at one point because they were using my chat plugin to show chat messages on the screen. So all these chat messages, where are they? There's one. That is, I ended up working with him to make him a custom CSS for his, so it doesn't look like my chat messages. But that's the chat plugin I wrote in as the Chrome plugin, and I was like, that's so cool that he's using it. You might recognize the messages. But yeah, so I did some formatting for him. He was the one that actually got me to fix the channel membership thing, make that show up too, which is great. And then I made that little ticker for him later, which is a lot of fun. But I will also check out Airport Action. That's great. MT says the numbers in the Panasonic chart, it means 4 SDI and 1 HDMI, or 3 SDI and 2 HDMI. What? How does that? I lost the tab. It's gone forever. Found it. Oh, I get it. So you can either have 4 SDI with 1 HDMI, or you can have 3 SDI and 2 HDMI. So it's 5 inputs total in each of those configurations. That's confusing. That is confusing. Okay. I'm getting tired. It's been over 2 hours. We need a little kitten break. They're busy. I should probably think about a snack break, and then I've got some videos to record, because I need to show YouTube that I'm not trying to just steal everyone's data by using their API. So I need to record a little demo video of how I use the API for this live stream in the chats. So I think I'm going to do, actually, I'm going to keep the members stream running after I close this down, and we're going to do that with channel members as I record the video. And then I can show some actual chat messages in there live. So if you are a member and you have some extra time, stick around for a little bit longer after this, and we'll do that video really quick. And you'll get a peek into how that works on my end. Also, Aaron feeding cam coming soon. No, that's Lily's live stream on Tuesdays, is eating donuts. So, okay. That's great. Thank you, everybody, for the questions. What a long stream today. We just covered a huge range of stuff. But yeah, thank you for all the questions. Thank you for supporting the channel. Special thanks to the extreme supporters, Michael and Marcin. And thanks to everybody else for tuning in every week. I just realized I need to update this list. If you just became a member, you're not going to be in the credits yet. Sorry. That is the one manual step I have to do. I've also provided that feedback to the YouTube API team, and I would love to be able to get the members from the API for this credits screen. So I will see if I can keep pushing them on for that. But yes, thank you all. See you all again next week. I won't see you next week. I'll have to figure that out. I will not see you next week. I will see you the week after that, and then we'll figure out what to do for the New Year's stream. If you do have fireworks nearby and you want to send me a camera feed of fireworks, let me know, because I want to start pulling in feeds from all over the world as fireworks are happening. So, okay. That was fun. Take care. I will see you all again next time. Thanks, everybody. Don't forget to like the stream, and see you all again next week. 2 weeks. Bye.